So IEM happened on the weekend. What was it? IEM San Jose. In league, and I'm gonna just bring up the. Okay, so just a warning. There's gonna be spoilers here. So Unicorns of Love started out of the day against Lion Gaming, and they looked terrible, terrible, terrible. Like I can't even say like how bad they looked in that game. Like I can't compare it to anything. Um, Definitely not LCS caliber team. Definitely not challenger level team. There were so many mistakes. It was like watching solo queue. Now, to say like, okay, so the weakest players on Lion Gaming surprisingly were Maple Street and Dodo, but that might have been because of the language barrier. They didn't really know where to go and what to do. Um, Aside from that, it looked like a solo queue game. That could be a testament, however, to Lion Gaming. They have really good players, just no coaching staff because it's an undeveloped region, or no good coaching staff. And if they had the coaching, then they would have been able to beat um, Unicorns of Love, or just both teams were just playing terrible. Like if Unicorns of Love played like that every game in LCS, they'd maybe, well, they wouldn't have more than 10 wins in the season. 10 wins is being generous. If they maybe like 5 wins would be good if they played like that. Next we have Cloud9 and Paying Gaming. Um, a lot of like Cloud9 won this one as well, 2-0. Um, Sorry, wildcard teams, you're not good enough yet. But there were a lot of problems, like balls on Lissandra in the first game. You can say it's because Payne had the ability to create picks, but he mispositioned a lot and didn't exactly know how to use the ult, Hourglass, and just looked unfamiliar with the champion. Uh, High on Corki. I should have done the like pick ban for this, and I probably will anyway. But it's people won't believe me when I say this, but it was so obvious that they were going to pick an AD carry mid. Like, look at High's champion pool. Look what was banned. Zed, Syndra, and Jace were all banned. So, what AD are they going to have? It looked like Corki was going bot lane, of course. I thought they'd go bot lane. I thought they'd go in Ezreal in mid, but they moved Corki to mid. Which the reason why I was so set on them having an AD mid and more importantly an AD carry because if Corki's bot, he has a lot of magic damage. Lee Sin, not really a damage threat, especially late game. And balls on Lissandra is heavy magic damage. So they would just like with the Mundo pick, they would get destroyed. Like they'd never be able to kill him if they picked a traditional like AP like. Not even sure what ball or High would play into that. I guess LeBlanc, but like they would just lose at the game. So it was pretty obvious they're gonna pick an AD carry. The only thing that was surprising in that pick ban was that Corki went mid instead of bot. Second game, same thing. You see the you're like, okay, so it's gonna be Ezreal mid. No, they switched Corki mid. Not really a big deal. They just used AD mid both games. And then here's what everyone was looking forward to. Unicorns Alive TSM. Now, after seeing Unicorns Alive in the first game, I'm like, okay, they're choking. They're not going to be able to play against TSM. Pick bans. They have last pick, they make it so it looks like TF is mid, and then they put TF into the jungle. That's like my thought about that was, okay, they know they can't win against TSM straight up. TSM is trash when it comes to pick ban because they have no one on their team. Like they don't have any leader on the team. They're just like five solo queue players on a team that occasionally like take it seriously. There's no like shot calling that goes on, and coaches can only do so much. So pick ban goes through, TF mid, jungle, cheese pick, and got into an argument with people about it being cheese. Like it's cheese is nothing that they thought cheese what meant things that aren't viable, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Cheese is just off meta. Like you see TF, it's going mid lane. That's normal. It goes jungle, that's cheese. Anyway, when it's not gonna catch on, it's not really like it's not the most viable thing in the world. Like it's not terrible, but they shouldn't have been able to win that game because Pantheon counter jungling. Um, Xerath should have known that he was going to get camped with those picks, and he didn't play safe. It was really bad play by Bjergsen. And actually, I should take my face off of this uh, monitor. There we go. So, there we go. Xerath was picked up. The Sivir also felt like it was bad. They should have gone with. I talked about this in my other video, so I'm not going to go into it. But just bad, poor pick ban by TSM, and then poor execution in what they were given. Like their way to win was bad. Second game, so more standard. You gave Power of Evil Syndra with, and he just solo killed Bjergsen over and over again. Um, Notable things: double Nomicon. The casters were like commending it as a good thing. No, it's not good. You're getting blue buff. You have 5% CDR from ruins. You're at max CDR already. So what it gives more mana regen. Well, blue buff gives mana regen. You don't need that. So what does Morella Nomicon actually give? It you already got the Grievous wound. It gives 80 AP. That's all that you're getting out of it. Out of the second one. Much better. Like the Void Staff after was smart. Should have got Hourglass in here. Would have saved him from Syndra, Wukong, sort of Irelia. But why he did it was actually smart. Um, he needed a power spike right then because they were going to lose the game. It didn't work out. They still lost. If it was an even game, or they were ahead, it would have been stupid for him to build. He only built it because he was behind. Alliance Cloud9. Um, Cloud9 stomps. In this game, Sneaky went off and carried. Trying to think back what this game was. Okay, so this game was just poor team comp execution by Alliance. Um, Whether it's lack of coaching, lack of a shot caller, um, or just Alliance playing still the same as they Froggen did on CLGE, where you farm and then eventually you win. How to fix that? They could bring in like new analysts and coaches. If that doesn't work, don't replace the coaches, replace players. If you can get an aggressive like playmaking support, that would work. Um, Wicked impressed me at this tournament. Like if he had the same showing as he did at Worlds, where it's like a rally or a fail, then it would have been bad. But he actually did what pretty well. One sec. He actually carried one of the games. The second game he carried. I'll get into that in a second. So his build path, he wasn't going for a Rod of Ages. He was going for this new item, Righteous Glory. It still has the um, reward for like restoring health and mana, which is lets Maokai sustain the lane. In general, it's better as a tank item. You get less damage, but the active gives you speed buff and slow. It also allowed people are wondering, okay, why was he going Frozen Heart into Cataclysm? Well, Righteous Glory doesn't need any stacking, so it's perfectly fine to get second. I still feel like his order was bad in this game. He was rushing armor and he was against Lissandra. Um, Not exactly the best. The health and mana do a lot for you, especially like early game. So I would have rushed the Cataclysm. Maybe not rush, just go Cataclysm into the locket. Um, well, just the Aegis, and then worry about like from there. Oh yeah, Balls of Syndra did a lot better that game. He wasn't getting caught out every 5 seconds. Game two. So Sneaky was like 5-0 in this game or something, 5-0-1 at the through laning, and it's just like, okay, we know where Warwick's gonna be. We'll wait for him there and then kill him because of deep words and impressive jungling by Meteos. Um, and this is where Wicked carried. So we got the items. He actually started building health. He went Frozen Heart, Locket, and then Righteous Glory, Warmugs. I'm pretty sure it went. Anyway, the only person who did magic damage was High, and Fizz isn't attacking Maokai. So he would just sustain for 3 times as long, pretty much, as balls, and they'd win the fights just out of tank. What what Cloud9 should have done better that game was create picks. You have the Fizz. Fizz actually made a great play at the blue buff um, of Alliance. He got a double kill and got out. It was like 1v3 or something that he did it. But they should have kept doing that. Like bait Baron, create picks, Warrior the jungle. Don't need the siege. Um, don't want a team fight like their team fight for Janna, Lissandra, Maokai is really scary. And all you really have for team fight is Gnar, Soraka, and Jarvan. Not even really Jarvan. Jarvan's not that great at team fighting. He's more of he's average at team fighting and he can gank. Like there's nothing really impressive that he does um, outside of his ganking. Like he can catch someone, sure. He can engage, but it's not exactly well uh, the Lissandra level of team fight. And third game, sneaky carry again. Um, it's just all around good play actually. Um, you see here the problem with Wicked. He didn't get the items again. Same with the first game, so he wasn't able to just power through and carry. Froggen on Xerath is less than impressive. You can't really play Xerath against Jarvan because he can just get like he can gap close so far that Xerath has no escapes. Um, he makes up for his escapes by staying 2 screens away. Jarvan can dash 2 screens with his QE and then ult. Doesn't help you. Reckless on Graves. Graves is good, and uh, he played Graves in this game as well. Graves' work is pretty much work ult someone and Graves blows them up, and you just 100-0 someone during the work ult. With Devourer right now, work can do that pretty much himself, so I don't think it's as necessary. But the team comp for Alliance was Xerath pokes, Shook or Wicked engage, and Reckless blows them up with his ult. You are able to keep up Siege and if it goes into team fight, you have Soraka there to like sustain yourself, so they can't really kill anyone, and you have a tank again. Didn't really work out for Alliance because, well, too much AoE on the side of Cloud9. So finals, Unicorns of Love, Cloud9. Did I even do um, game two here? Okay, so game two here was just, yeah, I did game two. Syndra. Okay, so game one here. This is what I expected. Like, if you look at the score, just pretty big stomp. Like, this is what I expected TSM to do to Unicorns of Love, but they're able to cheese them out. Cloud9's a lot less likely to lose to cheese because they can adapt. Elimination's really good at adapting on the fly, and he calls the shots for their team in pick ban. So, Kale Jungle got through. Meant to be this really scary thing where just does so much damage late game. Has an ult. Same as before with the Hurricane, um, Nashers, and Feral Flare. But junglers are a lot weaker now, so her being about equal to before makes her stronger. The Lux pick is questionable. Um, it's either Power of Evil has a really small champion pool, which he doesn't, or they're trying to cheese. So the cheese didn't work out with Medges never stacking. Medges was actually a good item for him to get because if you ever got a stack, it's AP. All you need is 6 stacks for it to be gold efficient. It, if you're behind and you want a team fight, then it's efficient. Well, really any team fight wins efficient, but it's a desperation item. You don't get it if you're ahead because it's a waste of gold. If you're behind, you get it because one team fight turns the game a lot quicker than, say, not getting it. Then you need 2 team fights to turn it. Um, game two, Cloud9 wins again. So, okay, so the Poppy gets picked up here against Maokai. It's what he ran in the expansion tournament, promotion tournament as his surprise pick. Poppy did well, as you can see, but Meteos Elimination had a really good play on Kikis in the mid lane. He got 6 walk to mid lane. Obviously, with a block, you're going to gank mid. Get her ahead, snowballs carries the game. But Janna and Lisa were waiting for him in a bush and got first blood off of that. And just really smart play by Cloud9 won that game. So we have Keen here playing Hecarim. No, not really. Hecarim top lane. It's not really good against Maokai. Maokai heals off spells. Hecarim spam spells. Hecarim is good against like Shyvana, Renekton. It fills the same role as Rengar, where it's not really good in teleport meta. Rengar and Hecarim are they're split pushing without teleport because there's no teleport meta. And then you run to mid lane and engage. Rengar with his ult, Hecarim with his E, and then his ult. And you have a 5v4. Since there's teleport, it really negates that. It loses some of its advantage. He can lane pretty well. Like, not really well. I shouldn't say. He can lane, like, survive, and has good all-in, which with the Xin Zhao is pretty good. But not really against Maokai. The healing, as I said. Late game as well, the healing, it's a lot. Um, so that pick failed. Jungle Xin Zhao. Xin in solo queue better than Lee Sin. Um, but competitive wise, you're going to be making plays early. Lee Sin still at the top. It gives you just so much room to do stuff. Okay, so should I do ARAM? Oh yeah, I guess I will. So the ARAM Saints team won. Through this, I was cheering for Hotshot because they had GG on their team, which they call GG, even though he had to change his name to LP because of Riot. So weird like that. He hasn't been called GG in a while, like a long while. Anyway, favorite player because I play mid lane and started watching when he was like the best mid lane ever. Then they said whoever wins this out of Saint Snoopy gets to cast the final game. I'm like, well, obviously he's saying like he's not a good caster, of course, but he knows a lot more about the game as a player than Snoopy does. Snoopy doesn't know anything, um, but that's simply because Saint still plays, and the knowledge of a pro player is limited to when they're in the pro scene. Pro players make terrible casters because if they do it full time, then they're gonna know a lot less, like have a lot less knowledge because the game updates, of course, and that's why it's better to pick casters and then players, um, not player into caster. That's just a terrible idea. So what this game was, Kale really performed terribly in this ARAM. Would have been able to like scale up, do a bunch of damage, and make up for the Tryndamere ult with their ult. Instead, they were kind of like a non-factor in that game. You didn't really notice them. Um, Snoopy on Vlad. Snoopy terrible mechanically. Tried to show off a lot, didn't work out. Whatever, so fun. Um, Chaos on Sivir did well because it's, well, an AD carry playing AD carry. GG on E carried the game, and Hotshot sat there. Um, and played like Hotshot does, just as a tank. On the other side, Tryndamere just carried the whole game. Um, sure, there were kills picked up by Tristan early, but really the whole game was they what Chicks Dig Ela won because of Benny on Tryndamere. So as I'll draw conclusions. Unicorns of Love, they're they're really hyped because of how well they did in this tournament. They beat TSM. That means nothing at all. All it does is expose a weakness of TSM, but the fact that Unicorns of Love only use cheese suggests that come like week 5, they'll do well for the first 5 weeks, maybe a little less than that. And then once teams figure them out, they won't be able to adapt quick enough to bring out new stuff, and then they'll just lose. Alliance needs coaching, shot caller, and less passive players. Wicked and Nif. I mean, Wicked did well. Nif didn't do terrible, but that's what you need. Your aggressive player. There's a free agent right now. His name's Flame. That would be really good in top lane. Crepo in support would do a lot better than Nif. Bring one of those people in, and you'll be able to like reach your potential, I guess. Because with everyone being so passive and farm oriented right now, and no one like Shuck takes risks. He sometimes when he's on his game, he's taking risks and they're working out. But that's not really enough for Alliance, I feel. They need someone else who can make plays come mid game, late game. Cloud9, same problems. Highest champion pool. He didn't really show off anything, like that he has a big champion pool. He didn't need to. Um, so for now, yeah, the tournament high was fine. Balls, terrible positioning, got caught, died a bunch. Um, needs to learn the Sandra before playing it. But before that's not really nothing to worry about. He'll learn it before LCS starts, and it might not even be viable. Although I'm assuming it will be unless they nerf it because of the way that Dragon was changed by playoffs. So that's Unicorns of TSM. TSM. Um, massive like everyone knew as soon as like Amazing left, it's like, okay, TSM's not gonna find a jungler who's that good, and everyone knew that Amazing's champion pool would be fine come next season because he'd have brand new jungle. He's mechanically strong, um, so all he's gonna have to learn new junglers anyway. Of course, Warwick's not really mechanically strong, heavy champion, but didn't need to learn that. Just needs to he expands champion pool with the jungle changes, and he'd be fine going into LCS. He actually played Zhao as well, like as one of his top champions, so that would have been good for him. Santor, on the other hand, maybe it was just land jitters, but no matter what it was, he's still going to be a step down from Amazing. Bjergsen played really, really cocky. Um, Power of Evil right now is what Bjergsen was when he was in Europe. Bjergsen, I guess, thinks that he's better than everyone and doesn't need to worry about it. Dyrus on again, weak player, gets through because his team carries and he just like shows up. Nothing really spectacular about him, so nothing different. Wild Turtle, Lust Boy, again, they're not the stars of the team. Do their job, they're fine. It was Bjergsen amazing before. It's gonna go back to being Wild Turtle Bjergsen as long as Corki stays at the top, which he's been for almost well, ever since the Bloodthirster change, Corki's been the best AD carry. So Wild Turtle should be able to stay relevant. Um, all they can really do, like if Caitlyn and Corki were at the top, then Wild Turtle would be fine. So hoping that there's really no one they can replace Dires with anymore, barring they drop a foreign player. At one time there was me and Tansa who could have gone top. Said it back then, still holds true. Would have been way better than Dires, would have made TSM a lot stronger as a team because he was able to shot call. And he didn't he was like the best top laner in A when he was on CLG. Fans don't think so because, well, they're idiots. Um, sure he loses lane, but look at Seraph. Also really good. Also always lost it. You can blame his like personality, like personal problems. But at the start they weren't really there. Um, he did fine in solo queue. It's top lane in CLG can't win lane. Like it's really hard to. And you'll never find a top laner for CLG or TSM right now better than Niantanzo was when he left CLG. And I think that sums everything up.